My name is Natalie, and I have an interview with a former member of the band Flyleaf and now flying solo, Lacey, on February 24th, 2016. First off, for those who may not know who you are or what role you play in the band, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Lacey Sturm, and I sing for Flyleaf for 10 years. And then they got another singer as I left the band. And then here we are 4 years later, and I'm doing a solo project. I'm singing with my husband, who's playing guitar, and we're starting to tour at the end of this month. So we just got our album out, and it's called Life Screams.
Nice. In 2014, you had released an autobiography. Will there be plans for a sequel or no?
Yeah, actually, I just finished writing my second book. The first book was really about when I was growing up and talked about my struggle with suicide and depression and kind of like self-hatred and just really angry, hateful person. And how my perspective changed in the midst of all that. I had an encounter with God as an atheist who, on the day I pledged to commit suicide, and saved my life. So I talk about that experience and the difference of perspective before and after. And then starting the band Flyleaf, I talk some about that as well. And having to step down and talk a little bit about that as well. And this next book I wrote is about romance. It turned out to be, I meant to write about romance because I think the first thing it does derails your life after you come through something like depression can be romance. And I certainly was for me. And so I wanted to write about that in case something I went through could help someone else not have to go through that. And it ended up being about fatherlessness and how that impacts your relationships and your identity. And it just talks about how I came to a healthy place in the end. Got my husband now, and we've been married 7 years, and just the things that make that healthier than my previous relationships. So.
In that same year, you announced that you were going to be flying solo as a solo artist. Why did you think right then and there was the right time to, keep doing the music then?
Well, we always have done music since I was little. I've always had music around me, and it's sort of a lifestyle that we have in our house where we just play music as a response to life. It's just a creative outlet. But the idea of putting it out for the public and putting a record out and going on tour, that was a little scary to me because I really felt like I had gotten out of being owned by the music industry, and I needed to find an identity as a mother. About 4 years ago when I had my first boy, my first baby, and that time was so important. And as my husband and I took that time off from music, we actually got opportunities to speak and to talk about my story, about how I overcame suicide, and I went on a little mini tour speaking about that. And during the tour, I didn't have a house to clean, and I didn't have any meals to fix because I had catering, and I was like, I got so much more time to spend with my kids than even when I was home. And so I remember talking to my husband one night and just realizing, as long as we do things on a smaller scale and do it as a solo project where you don't have to take as many dates to pay as many people, we can just do it as for fun, as we feel like it fits in with our family and our priorities. And if we do that, then we can do this, and we realized that after that tour. So we decided to go for it and just make sure we held on to our priorities and only took the dates that we felt like fit in with what our goals were.
Way back in 2012, you had a song called Heavy Prey featuring Gino Leonardo for the movie soundtrack Underworld Awakening. And that's where I rediscovered you after, listening to Flyleaf. How did that all come together?
Well, they, I think, reached out to me and asked me to see if I wanted to collaborate in writing a song. And I was really excited because they were going to let me write the lyrics and the vocal melody and all that. Actually, he had a melody. He had a melody that he wanted. But he was he wanted me to write the lyrics. And I tried really hard to find out. I wanted to see if I could see the movie. They wouldn't let me see it because it hadn't come out yet. And so I looked everywhere for a synopsis so that I could write something that would go along with the story. And I found a church site where someone actually wrote that out, and I was so thankful because I loved the concept so much of just this person who doesn't know who they are, and a lot of who they are is tied to who their parents are, who their mother was. And so coming from the perspective of someone who knows you're powerful, telling their child, you don't know who you are. I mean, but you're somebody that's so powerful and so, so much more than you think you are. I just feel like that is my message so much for the kids who listen to our music, but for anyone who listens to the music, that they don't know how valuable they are and how much they're worth. And so it's so cool to get to have that content and write music for it. It just felt very natural, and I loved getting to do that. And then I got to do the video, which was so fun. It was right after I had my son, and it was cool to be flying, first class in California and with my baby there and doing this video. It was just, I didn't think I would do much of that, but they called me and it worked out, and I was so thankful. And I was nursing in between shots.
You had played a show at the Whisky A Go Go out there in Hollywood not that long ago. Was this a one-off show just to get you back out there? Will you be hitting the road anytime soon?
Well, we did that with our friends, the Whosoevers, which is an organization that really reaches out to at-risk youth. And they put on events and go to school and talk about recovery drug addictions. And I do that with Sonny from POD and Brian Headwelch from Korn, and we tell our stories. Sonny came out of gang lifestyle. Head came out of addiction to crystal meth, and Ryan Reese, the guy who organized it all, he had a extreme sports affiliation with he did skate demonstrations. He worked for the footwear company, traveled the world, this crazy lifestyle full of drugs and all this stuff, and almost OD'd several times. And he tells his story of coming clean, and so we were putting on these events, and they were just excited about the album coming out, so they wanted to do a CD release party for me, and they're located in Southern California, so they put on this show for us as a kind of like a family party, a little CD release party with my family, and I'm just so happy to get to be there and do that with people I love, and so many people showed up, and it was just such a fun night. I loved hearing them sing at the top of their lungs, living the impossible. It was awesome.
During that same show, the set list that you tossed out, you ended up throwing some Flyleaf songs on there. Will you be rotating those in future set lists, or just once in a while?
There's a couple songs we do full the whole song. We do Chasm. This is a song my husband and I wrote for Memento Mori. We do All Around Me because that was our. A lot of people always want to hear that song. It means a lot to a lot of people, so we do that song start to finish. And then we have a medley of Flyleaf songs that we do. That's just like half of a bunch of songs smashed together. Like Fully Alive, I'm So Sick, Call You Out, those, a few different ones pushed together. And we'll probably do those, you know. It just depends how much time we have in the setting we're playing, and what we feel like the audience wants to hear and what we feel good about. So sometimes we might. But it is important to us that if Flyleaf is still touring, make sure that we're not going to try to compete with Flyleaf, you know. We're just going to make sure that if you want to hear Flyleaf songs, you have to go to Flyleaf show while they're still touring.
Yeah. Speaking of Flyleaf, will we ever see you go back there, or no, that time is dead and gone?
Yeah, there is no talk about that. No, I'm very present. I'm a very present person. I don't like to predict the future unless I'm really sure about it, and I don't really have any plans of that in the future, so I don't know what it holds, but that's definitely not in my brain.
Yeah. Let's talk about your new album. What can the listeners out there expect when hearing it?
Well, the new album it's full of, you know, it's real. It's very real. It's very raw. It's very personal. There's heavy moments. There's uplifting moments. There's peaceful moments. And, you know, there's songs about physical abuse and relationships and being trapped. And there's songs about just, you know, somebody passing away. Things that there's some heavy material, you know, but there's always hope interlaced in the message. So that's the main thing. We want to be real, and we want to meet people where they're at, but we also want to say there's hope in all of this, and glory can come out of the worst situations if we look for it and we let it.
Did you get the album that you wanted, or was there stuff on there that you missed out on doing that you would like to do in the future?
No, you know, this was just us having fun, really and truly. We're just having fun with people we love, family and friends, and it was all very relational. And when the album finally came out, I remember holding it in my hands, looking over it, and realizing this is a labor of love, and this was just so much fun to do. And there was no pressure associated with it. There was no weightiness as far as like trying to become something, to make a name for ourselves, to impress anyone, or to sell a bunch of records. It was all about just doing something we love. And if people love it, that's great. If they don't love it, at least we still love it, you know. And it's just so like free. So that's the thing. There wasn't a specific intention except to just do what we loved, and that goal is met. So.
All right. And lastly, do you have anything else that you would like to say?
Well, we're definitely going to be touring, and I have a book that's coming out in October. It's a faith-based book. And so there's a lot of things happening. Also, we're thinking about launching a merchandise line as well pretty soon. It's based around inspiring messages from people that we love. But you can find out about all of that stuff at our website, LaceySturm.com, and social media posts.